All right. Good morning. Good morning. Now I know it's early. I know it's early. But every day I wake up at around 3:30 a.m. and I have to clock in at work at 5 a.m. So I'm adapted to waking up early. I'm sorry. Uh, but when I wake up and I have a lot of energy and I'm in the mood to talk when I wake up. But no worries. I'm going to have to do another live stream later on today. I uploaded a video in the membership section today as well. If you have time, check that out, but viewer discretion advised. And I will make maybe a shorter PG-13 version of that video very soon, very soon. Yeah, it's early. Here is 6 a.m. Yep, 6 a.m. I've already been up for 2 hours. Even without the alarm clock, I still wake up around 3:45, no later than 4 a.m., even on my days off. So, all right, it's 11:05 a.m. in the UK. Good, good. So I at least got, a small crowd here. That's okay. 4 a.m. Okay, wow. All right, 3 a.m. Well, it's good that some people could still join us, even though it's an odd hour. Truly on some Alexander the Great type conquering of these. Yeah, yeah. I've been, I've had to do more and more research. And the more research I do, the more I have to get out. And, this might seem like I'm repeating myself, but no, no. This is the thing. See, when I make videos, I have a video on my channel titled Dogs Are Vermin. Oh, not dogs. Dogs are mutants. So whenever I make a video like that, most people see it as a random type video and you just, going in on dogs. But when an expert comes out and confirms a video, a position like that, oh, I'm gonna report on it. 100%. Oh man, 6 p.m. in Malaysia. Man, we got people from Malaysia in here, from India as well. Sweet. This is good. This is good. See, dogs are a global problem. Everybody can relate all around the world because they are a global problem, a menace to society. Right? How are we looking? My sound's good. Okay. Okay. So let's get into it. Welcome. See, I got a couple moderators in here. Welcome. Welcome. Let's get into it. Man, it feels so good to do this. But before I get into the meat of this subject, how many people saw this article yesterday? Dog pee caused the traffic pole to snap in Japan. And it's not the first time. Now, y'all heard me refer to dogs as demons, demonic creatures. And one of the ways or one of the signs of them being demonic creatures from hell, relatives of Satan, is the fact that their urine destroys plant life, destroys it. I mentioned how people misinterpret those brown spots in the grass as some sort of natural phenomenon, but it's not. And when you see people with a lawn like that, just understand that is a sign that they are a dog nut. Here, let me show an example real quick of what I'm talking about here. Right here. Okay. When you see a person who has grass like this, they have a mutt. They have a mutt. This is what dog urine does to plant life. Kills it. So even the bodily fluid, every bodily fluid that secretes out of a dog is toxic from their saliva, which could cause you to need amputations and infect you with all different other types of horrible diseases. Their excrement full of parasites and bacteria and nastiness. It's highly, highly toxic. And that goes for their urine as well. I couldn't believe this when I read it. This came out October 1st. The average lifespan for light poles in the country is around 50 years. But this pole collapsed 23 years after it was installed on the street in 1997. The police department reported in July that forensic scientists detected 40 times more urea at the bottom of the pole compared to the amount found in other nearby poles. Check that out. The traffic light was installed along a path that is popular among dog walkers. So authorities said that it is highly possible that the combination of urea and sodium found in dog urine caused the pole to erode. Their urine literally caused a pole to snap. How about that? What a way to kick off a case about mutts as mutant vermins. That is all they are, people. That is all they are. So the people who treat mutant vermin as family members, these are people, let's just say, at the least, are on the wrong path. On the wrong path. And then you think people, dogs urinate all in their house and they inhale this stuff. Think about that. Because on dog dander is traces of dog urine. So these dog nuts inside their home inhaling this toxic poison all day and night. That's why they're so unhealthy. Absolutely sickening. So I ran across a article. Now I've seen this a while ago, but I never talked about it. And I'm going to talk about it now. And the thing is, this guy who said this is a dog nut himself. And like I said, this is not uncommon, where dog nuts become a professional in a certain field and they run across information that speaks against dogs and they still make that information public. Not all of them are conscious or aware or mindful that they want to keep certain information away from the public just because it sheds a negative light on dogs or exposes the true nature of dogs. And here we got one who actually admitted the truth after doing the research. So, says dogs could have started out as mutant wolves that rooted around in the garbage like rats. And this guy, this professor, right? He's highly educated. He's a professor. He said, those dogs are not our best friends. This is a dog nut saying this. He said, quote, they are vermin, along with other nasty things that are inside of trash. Listen to that. I want that to soak in. Because when I say that, when I call dogs mutant and vermin, the dog lovers, they swear that I'm simply trying to insult them, that I'm simply trying to insult and degrade dogs and project them in a negative light. No, no. Here we have an expert who had to admit it. I've been trying to tell people this all the time. Dogs are disgusting vermin. They're just large rats. And they are nastier than rats. Nastier than rats. There's nothing lovable, adorable. These are the nasty creatures that you would find eating on a foul-smelling, decomposing carcass. And like I said many times, anytime or any animal, any creature that you find feeding on a decomposed carcass, you stay away from those animals and you keep them away from you and your family. Under no circumstances do you welcome a creature like that into your home. Under no circumstances do you touch them. You don't even come, you shouldn't even walk in their territory, because as we all know, you can still pick up the parasites on your shoes. So I don't believe our ancestors were treating these things like family members at all. That is a very, very new phenomenon, and it's backwards. It is the wrong thing to do. So I couldn't help myself. When I read this, I felt so good inside. Finally got an expert who admits it. Look at this. He continued. Rise of the mutants. Let me see if I can increase the size on this. Right, I want y'all to see this. Rise of the mutants. Y'all can look this article up. The first dogs were not just domesticated wolves. You couldn't go hunting with a wolf. Now, he's the director of research at Wolf Park in Indiana. He said that cannot be part of the story of domestication of the dog. Instead, he favors the view that mutations in the wolf genome gave rise to a population that was willing to come closer to humans, say 15 feet, rather than wolves' standard 650 feet. As paradoxical as it sounds, wolves are scaredy cats. Now, I'm not going to say that wolves are scaredy cats. Wolves are just a lot more similar, or the same, really, as other natural animals. And other natural animals, for the most part, keep to themselves. You just don't see other natural animals flooding human cities, neighborhoods. You don't see deer, and there's a lot of deer here in Ohio. You don't see them flooding into our cities and neighborhoods. They stay out in the woods. They stay in their part of the world. And the fact that dogs invade our territory the way they do, I think that is a sign of them being mutants, of them being abnormal. These are not normal animals. Don't say that. Should never try to normalize these abnormal mutants. Right? I think this is real important that we view these mutts for exactly what they are. They are mutants. This article continued. Excuse me. The dog genome shows evidence of a mutation that's linked in humans to a rare disorder known as Williams-Beuren syndrome. People who have that mutation are unusually friendly with strangers. Now listen to that. Doesn't that sound eerily similar to that parasite that causes organisms to have no fear of the natural predator that stalks them, that eats them? He talked about this parasite that rats and mice can pick up that will cause them to have no fear of cats, that they'll walk out right in the open, right in front of cats, and that it is this parasite that caused them to do it. They're saying that it is a mutation that is inside of dogs, and when this mutation is inside of humans, it makes humans unusually friendly with strangers, which is what can be dangerous. It can be seen as the same scenario with the mice and rats that walk out in front of cats. So that is fascinating stuff. Again, dog genome mutation linked in humans to a rare disorder, Williams-Beuren syndrome. People who have the mutation are unusually friendly with strangers. Could the genetic change have had the same effect on mutant wolves. He suggests that the mutants became scavengers around 15,000 years ago. Okay, now there is much less evidence to support this. This is really just theory. People really don't know when or how dogs came into existence. But there is no debate about whether or not dogs are mutants because dogs have numerous mutations, right? That's not up for debate. So yeah, he suggested mutants became scavengers about 15,000 years ago, hanging around human settlements and looking for yummies in the trash. Now, I don't know about that either. What type of trash were humans producing 15,000 years ago in that part of the world where dogs emerged from? There wasn't no modernized area of the world. They were eating like vegetables and animals. So these wolves, if that's what they were eating animals. So why would they mutate as a result of eating carcasses? Isn't that what cavemen mostly ate? They ate carcasses, right? Little vegetables here and there, but mostly carcasses. So why would wolves mutate into dogs as a result? No, I think dogs probably emerged on this earth from people having sexual intercourse with wolves. And then when those wolves go back and try to mate with each other, here comes some mutations because they got human semen inside of them or whatever. You know, we got too many diseases that originated in animals that we shouldn't have. So we have to consider the possibility that some of the mutations themselves found in dogs could have been a result, just like the STDs of intercourse with these things. It's so disgusting. You all should be ashamed of such primitive, immoral, disgusting, subhuman behavior. Treating these things like family members, like lovers, husbands and wives. It's disgusting. That was the vermin phase of the dog's domestication. The second phase kicked in when humans started to figure out what to do with them. A dog could bark out a warning, could be trained to help a hunter, and it can be eaten. In any case, dogs haven't taken so big of an evolutionary leap from vermin to best friend that the leap can't be reversed. Listen to that. That's another way of him saying that dogs today are very much no different from the disgusting mutant vermin that they have always been. There's nothing evolutionary or modern about dogs. And that's how most people see dogs, as superior, as the animal of all animals, when they're not even true animals. He points out that about 75% of the world's 500 million to 1 billion dogs are living as scavengers today, much as their ancestors did 15,000 years ago. That's another good point. Most dogs today are still scavengers, and that helps to explain why people in the United States are so brainwashed and under the control of propaganda, because they never see dogs in their true habitat, and that is to be nothing but a worthless scavenger that does not know how to navigate through nature, camouflage themselves. They don't duck down and stalk prey. No, these are brain damaged mutants that bark at their prey, which gives their prey an opportunity to escape. A total of 114 mutations were found in mixed breed dogs, and 93 mutations were found in purebred dogs. Check that out. So I call them mutants. Turns out they have hundreds of mutations. Or shall I say dozens? Over 100 of real verified mutations. Dogs that inherit 2 copies of a mutation called homozygous, affected, or at risk, are likely to display some negative effects like blindness. Now, I talked about the mutation that causes blindness, and that is that long hair, those hairy mutts. Sometimes parasites and bugs get on their hair, and then sometimes their hair gets into their eyes, and that causes some dogs to go blind. So we're talking about all kinds of, these mutts got all kinds of mutations. Exercise collapse. Do y'all know exercise collapse is a mutation? Exercise induced collapse. The definition of it is just what it sounds like. And that is a mutation that dogs have. Look at this. A nervous disorder. Isn't that what we always talking about? Isn't that what the dog owners themselves and the dog experts, so-called experts, talk about all the time? Dogs being nervous, everything scaring them. Anytime something moves, it's scared, start trembling, looking around, thinking that something wants to attack it. They always think that some other living organism will just up and attack them, because that's what dogs themselves do. They assume everybody else has the same mentality that they have. They're not smart enough to assume that other organisms think any other type of way. That takes a higher level of intelligence. To be aware of your intellectual inferiority requires intelligence itself. These mutants are too dumb. I'm telling you, the fact that they're mutants, this is a fact. Here, you look it up. What causes exercise-induced collapse? Scientific references. A canine dynamin 1 mutation. So many mutations. I shared this article on a video a while ago. Is your dog some kind of degenerate mutant? Floppy ears. That is a mutation. Short legs. That's a mutation. A short spine. Hairless dogs. Mutation. Hairy dogs is a mutation. Right? You got a lot more mutations as well. Add on to that, these mutts sneeze in reverse. They got all types of abnormalities. In the article itself, it mentions what? Other abnormalities. They say what? There are many other abnormalities. As we see here, we got hundreds. They got hundreds of mutations. There are many other abnormalities which are less common or less spectacular, such as the outturned eyelids of the bloodhound or the ingrown eyelashes of the Pekingese. The only dog mutant which comes anywhere near qualifying as useful is found in a Saint Bernard. But even it suffers from hyperthyroidism. This is another thing. These mutants have all kinds of health defects on top of the physical mutations. They have all kinds of heart problems. Dogs, heart problems, neurological problems. We clearly see that in their behavior, which means that its overactive thyroid gland enables it to turn food into body heat at an incredible rate, not by choice, but by compulsion. So it's no argument. There's no denying. Do the research, do your Googles. You'll find several sources, references from the professionals that talk about how dogs are bona fide mutants. They are not natural animals. I really want people to understand that. This stuff really freaked me out. This stuff freaked me out. Yeah, parasites. Parasites with parasites. And that's another good point. Chef Mutt Meat. They are such the perfect home for parasites and bacteria, bugs, viruses. Dogs are the perfect home for those things to thrive, bacteria and all of that. They even talk about it in regard to the mutations, how with the floppy ears, a lot of times ticks will make a home inside their floppy ears. It's a dark, warm, moist environment. So nasty. These things are the most disgusting, disease-ridden creatures on earth. And even though we've been bending over backwards trying to make them not so disease-ridden with all these shots and all this crap that they get, dogs still transmit more diseases to humans than any other creature. These people, these dog nuts, are making the human family very sick and disease-ridden. I'm blaming them. First of all, it shows that dogs have the ability to read human body language. How many of y'all heard about this nonsense? About this rubbish? Y'all remember there was a trend among these dog nuts to say that dogs can sense if you're a good person or not. Y'all remember that? Oh, a dog can tell if you're a good person or if you're a bad person. This is a real big narrative among dog nuts. They have the ability to read human body language. In addition, it shows that dogs feel that our movements and gestures contain important cues as to what will happen next in their world. For decades, scientists have been studying social cognition in dogs. Okay, so scientists have been studying it, social cognition in dogs for decades. And they say that dogs can feel our movements and gestures, and they can tell or get an idea of what we, the human, is going to do next. So they're saying that dogs can read our body language. Okay, whatever. Do dogs understand body language? Listen to how they talk about these mutts. Dogs are actually quite remarkable at reading human body language. In the same way that humans learn to read their dog's body language, dogs learn how to interpret their human's body language. This means that your dog understands your body language. There are multiple sources. Multiple sources say the same thing. Look at this. Dogs have become experts at reading our body language and taking cues from our emotions. This is absolutely ridiculous. The number of articles available is ridiculous. A lot of them coming from bona fide experts. Free-ranging dogs understand human intentions and adjust their behavioral responses accordingly. Can y'all believe that? Can you believe that? That is so infuriating. That's so infuriating. So infuriating, right? I'm going to get to it, right? Bear with me here. I just want to share with you how much ridiculousness is out here. This is from Duke University. Dogs' understanding of communicative intentions. Our previous research revealed that dogs are more skilled at spontaneously reading human communicative cues than chimpanzees and other primates. To understand the origins of these skills, I've conducted research with puppies, wolves, blah, blah. All this research suggests that dogs, while cognitively unremarkable in many ways, also possess an unusual ability to read human communicative intentions. Here we go, comparing them to kids again. Just like children, dogs are highly attuned to our gestures. And they can use this ability in novel situations to flexibly assess what we want. Listen to that. Now, if that's true, then why do dogs attack infants? Why do they attack toddlers? Why do they attack children more than any other demographic? They attack humans age 13 and under more than any other demographic. These kids have no ill intent towards these dogs. How could this possibly be true? Don't ever be afraid of people who are so-called experts, because if their information cannot be proven or backed up, supported by reality, then they have more work to do. So here's one of them. Dogs can sense a good person. Y'all remember this. Signs of a dog sensing a good person: when somebody's a bad or a good person. When an angry person looks away, blah, blah, blah. It's just a bunch of typical rubbish, nonsense. Can dogs feel kindness? I've said many times they don't understand what kindness is. That's why they bite you when you try to kiss them. How many stories have we gone over where a human tried to pet a dog and was attacked? So how can you also say that they can understand what our intentions? Get out of here. Look at this. Dogs may be able to figure out understand our actions, whether our actions are deliberate or accidental. Check that out. Canines seem to understand whether actions are deliberate or accidental. All this intelligence they're trying to heap on these mutants. Dogs understand human intention. Throughout the ages, dogs have been humans' closest companions, and that they understand our behavior. Dogs might really understand your intentions. Unbelievable. Without other contextual clues, it is difficult to understand whether others' intentions. After all, dogs understand humans better than we understand them. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Like I said, if that's true, then why do dogs attack children? Now, when I ask you that question of why they attack children, babies, infants, toddlers, keep in mind that dogs also are said to be able to sense fear, that they can smell the hormones that are released when you are terrified. Think about that, which means they're also saying that dogs know when you are a harmless target. They are well aware when a living organism has no intentions on doing harm to them. And as a predator, they still do what? They attack anyways. In fact, you are more of a target when the dog realizes that you're not a threat. Only adds weight to the case that these things have no business whatsoever in human territory. And especially inside the home where kids are present, inside a society, a community, period. They don't belong, because kids are always in our communities and neighborhoods, man. These are evil, satanic creatures that prefer to attack the helpless, the harmless. And yet we got these disgusting dog nuts trying to project the dogs themselves as helpless and harmless. No, this comes across to me like mutant aggression. Mutant aggression, right? You can do your own research, but behavioral mutations will accompany physical, biological mutations. So we've established that dogs are in fact mutants. So how can you deny the idea that their behavior is also degenerated from the behavior of a normal animal? And this is seen in almost any and everything dogs do. All the barking, the constant wagging their tails. Do you know how stupid and goofy and disgusting that looks to me? Seeing a mutt always shaking its behind, wagging its tail. No other animal constantly does that. What's the purpose? What's the purpose? Even though other animals can. They don't do that. Not the way dogs do it. Dogs, it's nonstop and it's purposeless, which tells you what? Something is wrong with their brains. Yes, I'm saying that something as little as tail wagging is a sign that something is wrong with these mutants' brains. It's one out of many types of behaviors that you don't see among other animals, natural animals. The barking, the constant looking around, looking over here, and ain't looking for nothing. Nothing. Can never be satisfied. Always got to be moving around, making noises. These things act, they behave as if something is wrong with them. Right? I want people to look at it that way, to look at dogs and see the behavioral problems that they have. And because you don't want to fall victim to the propaganda of these dog nuts who try to convince you that all the dog behavior is natural for animals. It is not. It is not. Nothing about them is normal. The only thing that you can argue that's normal about dogs is their physiological makeup that makes them efficient killers. The nose, sense of smell, where they can smell a carcass from far away. They can smell an innocent victim from far away. They can smell the fear, the hormones released when an innocent, harmless, a child is afraid. Teeth, right? The only thing that's normal about them, and even, like, well, wolves have similar sense of smell and long nose, but wolves are much more like normal animals. I talked about how, and I shared the article where the experts were trying to figure out why wolves never bark. Y'all notice that? Many people have assumed that wolves can't bark. And I'm talking about people who actually see wolves. Right? There was an article they read, do wolves ever bark? Because I never hear them bark. Because why? That would give up their location. Other animals that have very good sense of hearing would hear the barks. The behavior that dogs display is behavior that would drive them into extinction if they were living out in the wild with other animals. Think about that. Think about that. And you really can't argue against that. So yeah, yes, these things are, I hate it. Maybe it's just me. I hate seeing dogs wag their tail, man. And these dog lovers, they love seeing it. That infuriates me. It is so disgusting. Everything about them, wagging their tail, drooling, slobbering all over the place, stinking, being invasive. All of this negative type of behavior. Why? Because they're mutants. You don't have to deal with this with any other animal. So I know this guy is a dog nut, and listen, this is the guy right here who called these mutts mutant vermin. He is a dog nut himself. So as much as I'm against these dog nuts, hey, I at the least have to commend the ones who become experts who will then tell the truth about these mutants. And people, this guy is a bona fide, hardcore dog nut. Let me show y'all something. Let me show y'all something here. Now, this is him. Look, this guy is a bona fide dog nut. Got a book out called Dog is Love. Unbelievable. So he is a member of the group of people that I'm totally dead set against. But if I can use what you say as an expert against you, against this disgusting culture that you partake in, so be it. I'm going to do it. But this is more proof from this seat that these things should be outlawed. Should be outlawed. Their behavior is too unpredictable and just absurd. Absurd. This behavior of threatening people that are far away, not even on the property, across the street, barking at any and everything that moves. In my book, that's mutant behavior. Mutant behavior. And we've grown to accept it as part of nature. That's what's so scary about it. We hear dogs barking all the time. Oh, it's just the sound of nature. I've literally heard people say that. Who's that guy? He don't make Dark Reindeer. He used to make videos against anti-dog channels. He said it on camera, on a video, that these anti-dog channels, they don't like dogs barking. Well, something's wrong with you because that's just the sound of nature. No, it is not. No, it is not. And if it was the sound of nature, then we'd hear all kinds of animals making loud noises. You notice whenever animals make noises, natural animals, whenever they make noises and sounds, it's always tolerable. In fact, sometimes therapeutic. Think of birds chirping. Huh? Think about that. Do we ever feel uncomfortable from the sound of birds chirping? No. Most humans love it. We love to wake up in the morning to the sounds of birds chirping. Is that true or is it not? This is because birds are natural animals, and they work in sync with nature. And this is a big part of it. Dogs do not operate in sync with nature. They go against the grain. Against the grain. Let's say dogs are the fourth most dangerous creature in the world. Let that sink in. I think they're the first most dangerous. I think they're the first. That's a good video. You know, I might do a video on that. Now, there are some animals that are more dangerous, right? Don't get me wrong. I'd rather be in the room with a dog than with a lion, right? So in that regard, yes, that's an excellent point. That's an excellent point because you're comparing dogs to other massive predators. So if dogs are the fourth most dangerous creature in the world, that is monumental. And you know what? If you can find a link to that, please share it. Please share that link. But that's amazing because you got a lot of dangerous animals in the world. If that's true, that's incredible information. Elephants, this thing, elephants, rhinos, hippos. I believe in Africa, hippos kill more humans than any other animal. Hippopotamus. You got all kinds of, you got alligators, stuff like that. So if dogs have managed to be the fourth most dangerous animal in the world, that says a lot. Yeah, let that soak in. Say overt narcissists hate birds chirping, right? Right. And that, you know, narcissism is a big problem with these dog nuts. And the dog culture only, it's like fuel to their narcissism fire. It makes their narcissism worse. You know, they should, in order for them to heal, dogs need to be illegal. These people would be much better off if dogs didn't exist. That way they could fix their narcissist problems. But the way society is set up now is set up to maintain these narcissists and only create worse narcissists in the world. That's why we got to go out here on the battlefield full force, guns blazing. Guns blazing. So I just want to share that with you all. Yeah, go ahead and Google. If I can find the link, I'll go ahead and put it in the description box. If a mutt's urine can snap a pole, this is unbelievable stuff. A pole. This pole didn't even make it to be half the lifespan of a typical pole because dogs urinated on it so much. These things have destructive, toxic, poisonous urine. Urine. Anything this, look, that means what? That the dog just existing as a normal creature, not attacking anybody or anything, it's still destructive. Still destructive. We know how destructive they are, like for our health, for our physical well-being. They're physically destructive. They're a physical hazard. If you even remove all of that, right? Put them out in the wilderness somewhere by themselves, they are still destructive by simply eating and, releasing waste from their body. Unbelievable. It's absolutely incredible stuff. And it just does not stop. Anything that has this many new discoveries, it's like a never-ending thing with dogs. You're on the right path because we're just getting too many signs that these things are abnormal, that they're mutants, that they're vermin, that they have no place in society. I shared a video in the membership area that supports this argument. I will make a PG-13 version of that as soon as I get a chance to. And this is why these so-called experts will never, ever accept an offer to a debate. It will not happen. So we might as well simply unload on them. Okay? I'm challenging y'all to a battle. Since you don't want to have a debate, look, I'm just going to take whatever information you make public and go in on that, right? So I want to thank everybody who joined this stream, right? I will later on today do another stream. I got a lot of information to get out here. I might also throw out 1 or 2 short videos as we continue with this crusade against these worthless mutants and their enabling owners. I will see you all later on today.